every time this Congress is called on to do its job, like, I don't know, doing something about guns, Republicans collectively shrug their shoulders and tell the American people that we've gone about as far as we can go and that legislating emotional issues doesn't solve problems. Now, mind you, just 4 days ago, these same Republican politicians passed a Parents' Bill of Rights, which seeks to legislate the emotional culture wars that Republicans are waging in our schools. It's also interesting that they say they can't do anything. At the same time, the House Republican majority is wasting taxpayer money investigating Hunter Biden and his laptop, the supposed censorship of conservative voices on Twitter, and the treatment of January 6th insurrectionists. Those hearings have proven to be a flop because they just aren't popular with the public. Maybe because they don't actually solve any problems for the American people. It's all just literal emotional theater designed to assuage right-wing feelings. To date, Kevin McCarthy, who, believe it or not, is the Speaker of the House, has delivered nothing that I could actually list for you right now, except for the chaos that comes with aligning yourself with characters like Donald Trump and Marjorie Greene. It is pretty wild to think that it was just a few months ago that the 117th Congress came to a close, after proving to be one of the most productive in recent history, funding infrastructure in all 50 states, helping veterans who were exposed to toxic burn pits, and lowering the cost of prescription drugs, including insulin. See, politics actually can solve people's problems. It is literally politicians' job. A key reason for that was the first female Speaker of the House and current Speaker Emerita, Nancy Pelosi, and she joins me now. Speaker Emerita Pelosi, good to see you.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Joy.
Thank you. And I see your pin. We're talking a lot about guns this evening. And you know, it is a reminder that when you were running the House of Representatives, you actually did do something in terms of passing laws about guns. Why are we now hearing this paralysis?
Well, it is, I think it's all about money, big gun money. I'm not talking about lobbying money, NRA, that's one thing. I'm talking about big money in the gun business. These assault weapon bans are so lethal, so deadly, you can't even describe how they tear a body apart internally. And that we should just have had another one yesterday. I mean, this week is so remarkable. Now, we passed the assault weapon ban in the 90s. I was here. In the House, Chuck Schumer was our leader. We know how to get this job done with this bill. We just have to be able to get the Republicans to give us 60 votes in the Senate to save lives. They say, oh, well, it's politically this or that. And I say to them, your political survival is nothing compared to the survival of our children in their schools, in their playgrounds, in their wherever they happen to be. So we have to get this done. And I see this pin. It's a assault weapon ban pin that I got from the kids. There's something called Generation Lockdown. And these young kids, some of them were at the Marjorie Stoneman School, some of them other places, but young people who are taking the lead on getting an assault weapon ban. And one of them is in the Congress now. Yeah. Maxwell.
Maxwell Frost.
He's so wonderful. But I want this to be everybody's best piece of jewelry. Yeah. A ban on assault weapons.
You know, I mean, the polling shows that the younger Americans, you know, as they're getting into the 18, able to vote, are feeling incredible stress about being forced to do these lockdown drills and learn to evade a shooter. And that as they are coming into voting age, they are very focused on getting gun reform done. Given the makeup of the Congress now, and that they're spending a lot of time investigating Hunter Biden and sort of pretending that the government's being weaponized against conservatives on Twitter, is there, I mean, it seems to me that we can't even have a conversation about getting gun reform while this Congress is in place, this majority is in place. Is that accurate to
say?
Well,
we do have to just talk to the American people. Yeah. They are our bosses. And we really, as Lincoln said, public sentiment is everything. With it, you can accomplish almost anything. Without it, practically nothing. But there is support in the public. Yeah, overwhelming. To get this done, and we just have to make sure that members of Congress hear from their constituents. Yeah. Now, the other side is very, very active on the public sentiment side. And we just have to make sure people know. Yeah. Right now, in the race in Wisconsin, which is coming up soon for a judgeship there, the Wisconsin Republicans, far right-wing Republicans there, are putting out the word to gun owners. You must vote for Kelly. He's awful. And against the Democratic Judge Janet, who is there, who's wonderful, because of guns.
Right.
No, Judge Janet is not taking their gun away. She's not interfering with their gun rights or anything else. But he's interfering with a woman's right to choose. He's interfering with who wins the election. In the last election in Wisconsin, 4-3 to accept the results of the election. Now, this race will determine what that fourth seat will be again. And if they win on the gun thing, that means that there's a very good chance that they will overturn the presidential election.
And speaking of that, so I want to show you, this is a piece of video from January 6th. Your daughter shot this video, and it is one of the most memorable moments, I believe, in your very, very memorable speakership. Let's play that if we could.
How are you? Oh, my goodness, where are you? God bless you. But are you very safe? I've gotten a very bad report about the conditions of the house floor with defecation and all that kind of thing. I worry about you being in that Capitol room. Don't let anybody know where you are.
And of course, you're speaking with then Vice President Mike Pence. Are you surprised that it has taken a subpoena to force him to testify when behind closed doors he's expressed the outrage you would expect by the fact that he could have been killed that day, as could many of you? Are you surprised it's taken a subpoena for him to talk?
Well, he did the right thing that day, and that is what was important.
Sure.
He honored the Constitution of the United States. Now he has the subpoena. That's very interesting that they issued the subpoena. He should accept that opportunity to tell his story, but he can always withhold information. That's his right to do. But I hope he doesn't. I hope he doesn't. I hope that he would go there and show the truth. I mean, it's a very sad thing that has happened to our country, that they would have an assault on our Constitution that day to certify who the president would be, on our Capitol, this pillar of democracy to the world, on our Congress of the United States. They're out to get us. They were out to get me and stuff. And, of course, him at the direction of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
A very sick person.
Well, I want to show, I have another picture, and this is a picture that I think became quite epic, and this is you, the lone woman in the room, standing up over this cadre of Donald Trump and his officials, and that sort of represented your willingness and ability to use power and to understand your power and understand your why. You're always talking about your why, and your why, I know, is the children. But how worried are you that Donald Trump could be president again, and what damage he could do were he to regain the office?
Well, let me say, in that picture, we're not allowed to have phones or cameras or anything in the room. They took that picture, and then they put it out to show how to order I was, a woman to stand up in that room of all white men. Actually, I think Liz Cheney was in the room. I'm not sure, but she had the right to be. But nonetheless, overwhelmingly. I think that we spend too much time talking about him. Let's talk about what other possibilities are for the future, because this was a real taint on our democracy to have that person there. And it's no use even spending time going into it. Let's spend time on how we go into the future. What are the possibilities in terms of who they might nominate? But we cannot keep giving him all the press he wants. This whole thing about his indictment coming out when he didn't really even know if he was going to be indicted, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, how would he know?
Right.
He's not supposed to know. How would he know? And that's been a while. And for a week and a half, all we hear is about him. And that's exactly what he wanted. So let's put him aside and let's go into the future about ideas, about our children and their future, and gun safety so that they have a safe prospect as they go forward and not have to hide under their desk because of danger in the classroom, because he has stirred that pot. He's talking about death and destruction in terms of his indictment. Death and destruction. Yeah. Does he not know no one is above the law, not even a former ex-impeached twice president and defeated president of the United States?
Well,